So guys, I promised I'd make a video answering your guys' questions, and let's go through your guys' questions and answer all your questions. I said I'll do it as a debate with my brother, but I actually thought, you know what, I'll do it on my own, answer your questions one by one. There's some good questions actually, which I'm looking forward to go through. So let's see what your questions state. So reality. Can you please clarify the rematch situation between AJ and Wilder? If Wilder wins, there should be an immediate rematch, but if AJ wins, no rematch. So in terms of that situation, I've said before that I'm not biased. I know a lot of you, there's some of you who I'm going to mention who obviously give me a lot of stick on it. I'm not biased. I try to keep it fair. Obviously, I'm from the UK, and if AJ and Wilder fight, I will want Joshua to win. But I try to keep it as real as possible. I don't think you're going to get any other YouTuber from the UK that gives Wilder as much credit as I do. I've mentioned so many times about what I think of Wilder and him as a fighter. I don't have to go through it, but I've told you that what I think of him. But to answer your question, I think that's wrong. I think Wilder deserves a rematch. If he loses, he should get a rematch as well, just like AJ. So if that's not in the contract, then that should be put in. It's only fair, right? Wilder's a champion. He's a WBC champion. He should get respected as well. So if Hearn and Joshua haven't got that in the contract, they need to put that in the contract. Wilder deserves a rematch clause in the contract for sure. So to answer Steam ARYJ, why AJ in his feeling about Wilder and Fury? I think that's supposed to say, what is AJ's feeling about Wilder and Fury? Obviously, I don't know what Anthony Joshua thinks. I don't know what goes through his mind. But to be honest, he has obviously come out and said a few things. Normally, Joshua doesn't really care about what's going on around him. He has come out and said a few things like, I'm looking past Povetkin. He mentioned something on his Instagram, Twitter. My enemies want to be friends with my enemies. So maybe he's rattled him a little bit, but I don't think Joshua's the type of guy, you know, that really cares a lot. Obviously, I feel like this is the first time I've seen him respond to something like a Fury Wilder, but you can understand. Obviously, Joshua feels like he's the king of the division. He's obviously making a lot of money, and he feels that when someone, this Fury Wilder fight is going to get a lot of attention, and it's not going to have, it's not going to be with Joshua. So anytime there's a lot of attention in the heavyweight division, and it's not including Joshua, of course it's going to trigger him. No fighter at that level wants another fight to get more recognized than his fight, So of course Joshua cares about Wilder Fury. I just think it's going to make him more determined to fight the winner, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. I don't know what Anthony Joshua thinks in his head. Only he knows that. But it says here, you asked another question. You've asked why AJ didn't take the 50 million plus guarantee offer. Once again, we don't know. We don't know what was in that guaranteed offer. Now, Anthony Joshua obviously went publicly and said he wants 50 million for the fight. Now Hearn and Joshua have come out and they've said that the money wasn't there. I'm gonna stay neutral. I don't know whether the money was there or not. If you guys want to think the money was there, I'll take it as, okay, the money was there. Especially for you Wilder fans, it was there. Anthony Joshua decided that he wants to fight in the UK. So if you guys think, that he's ducking as Wilder fans, you can think that. I don't personally think a lot of you said he's scared of him. I don't think he's scared of him. It's just business. At the end of the day, like, maybe Joshua wants to fight in the UK. Maybe Joshua wants to give his UK fans the biggest fight in world boxing, because he did mention, I want to give my UK fans the biggest fight. Now Joshua did go on publicly and say, I want 50 million for the fight, right? He did say that. But sometimes you say certain things in a certain context because he probably thought they won't be able to put 50 million up. They don't have the money. So he said it without thinking much, which I criticized him for, because you don't say things like that in public. And then it made him look really bad when they came out with that offer. Joshua said in many interviews, he even said, I even made a video where Joshua said, show me the money. only God knows. Listen, I don't want to. I don't want to talk whether the money was there. Fair enough. There was a lot of people that said the money was there, but Anthony Joshua decided he wants to fight in the UK. Now I can't answer why, if the money was there and Joshua knew the money was there, why he turned it down. I don't know. I generally can't answer that question, because I don't even know if that was a legit offer. Because if you look at the whole situation, Eddie Hearn didn't ever receive a contract. I don't think they ever received a contract. Shelley Finkel in an interview said yesterday that they didn't even send Joshua a contract. They wanted him to accept it publicly. But why wouldn't you send Joshua the contract? I don't understand. Why wouldn't you send? What was in that contract that you didn't want them to see? Why didn't they didn't send it? That's Shelley Finkel said that in an interview yesterday, that they didn't send the contract. Joshua had a contract for Wilder to fight in the UK, and they sent that contract, right? But what was in that contract that they didn't want to send? Like Eddie Hearn mentioned that they didn't send him a contract. They just said accept the fight publicly. And only AJ knows why he didn't accept the fight. Only Eddie Hearn knows. Like, I don't know if like I said, I can't speculate, because when you listen to Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn, it seems like they're saying the truth. When you listen to Wilder and Shelley Finkel, it feels like they feel like that's the truth and there's nothing. And when you listen to both parties, they both have talk sense. So you don't really know what they're saying. Because to me, why didn't they send that 50 million contract to Eddie Hearn? Why didn't they send it? They didn't send it. They just said accept the fight. So that's my take on it. And listen, if Joshua also reached out to Wilder about that 15 million offer. So again, this is what Wilder said, that Joshua reached out to him about that offer directly. So he directly contacted Deontay Wilder about whether the money was there or not. Now, only Joshua can come out and say what actually took place in that text or on the phone or however they contacted each other. Only Joshua can tell you. But to be honest, I don't think Anthony Joshua would turn down 50 million. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of politics that we can't get into. But a lot of Wilder fans want me to say that Anthony Joshua is scared. That's why he's done. That's not the truth. That's not true. Because when we talk about elite level fighters, they're not scared of one another. They don't fear one another. But obviously, as Wilder fans, a lot of you think that he's scared. That you're entitled to your opinion, but I'm also entitled to mine. It's not a case. This isn't a mass question. This is subjective. You can't be for sure because you're not with Wilder. You're not with Eddie Hearn, so you don't know what the truth is. We're just talking as subjective. So if you're a Wilder fan, you're obviously going to say that, listen, Wilder's saying the truth. If you're a Joshua fan, you're going to say that Joshua's saying the truth and the money was real. It was monopoly money. Like some of you have commented. Some of you saying, well, everybody's saying the money's there. So at the end of the day, everyone's got their side of the story. But it's not a case. This isn't a mass question. This isn't a right or wrong answer. Do you know what I mean? This isn't a right or wrong answer. This is one of them where, I'm saying something and you guys are probably going to in the comments say, oh, but this happened, that happened. The fact is, we don't know the truth. We only know what we're being told by the media. So some of you get really emotional about it. And when you don't even know yourself, you don't know yourself what the actual truth is. So that's my take on the 50 million offer. But Dame Star 9 asked me, he asked a question off topic. I'm a Kell Brook fan. Will he ever get Brook v Glassjaw? Khan. I think Amir Khan's got a lot of options. I don't think Kell Brook's got a lot of options, and that's why he's chasing the Amir Khan fight. He needs the Khan fight. Amir Khan's obviously a bigger star than Kell Brook. I think the fight. To answer your question, I think the fight will happen. Yes, I think the fight's too big in the UK not to happen, and I think the fight will happen. In my opinion, that's my opinion of the Brook Khan situation. I think eventually the fight will take place. And then Dame Star asks another question. He says, Imran, are you excited for AJ v White too? Now, I don't know whether you're being sarcastic with that. If you're asking me, am I excited? No, I'm not really that excited because I think Anthony Joshua will beat Dillian White. It'd be a big fight here in the UK, but I want to see Wilder Joshua or Joshua Wilder, however you want to call it. I want to see that fight. I don't want to see Dillian Whyte, Anthony Joshua. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you Wilder fans will be happy me saying that. I don't want to see that fight. I want to see Joshua Wilder. That's the fight. That's the big fight. So that's my take on that question. In terms of, so, Coexon Lopez. I don't know if that's your actual name. I like your questions. I like your comments because you've got an open mind, like I've said before. So I really appreciate your comments on there. You do have some really good comments. So I want to answer your question. Why has Hearn offered Wilder a flat fee and refused to budge in a percentage split? How do you think AJ is feeling when he see? Okay, so you asked one question. So why do you think Hearn offered a flat fee and refused to budge in a split? It's basically like power, right? So they feel they're the A side. They're trying to dictate. AJ is obviously making a lot of money. He's obviously selling out mass stadiums in the UK, and he feels like Wilder's not a big draw in America. He's not making a lot of money, so it's kind of like you're not in a position to, kind of dictate anything. We're bringing everything to the table. I'm not saying that's how I think. That's what Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua think. So they feel like they're gonna give Wilder a split, and he needs to take it. Now I don't necessarily agree with that. Like, I do feel that eventually the fight's going to get so big that it's going to be a 60-40 percentage split. And I think that's what's going to make the fight happen. I think anything else probably doesn't make the fight happen. But yeah, I think it's just power. It's power, right? Because Eddie Hearn and Joshua feel like they're the A side. They're the guys in the position. They don't feel like Wilder brings a lot to the table. I disagree. But that's just the way they think, and unfortunately boxing is like that now, because if one guy's making $15-20 million a fight and one guy's making $1-2-3 million, which Wilder is making, fair enough, we know the Fury fight might happen and he might make a lot more in that, but if we look at what Joshua's earned in his career so far, it's a lot more in comparison to Wilder. So that's my answer to that. How do you feel AJ is feeling when he sees Wilder mobbed by fans in Belfast? To be honest, I don't think Anthony Joshua really cares. Like, if we were to switch it, if Joshua was to go to America and he was to get a lot of love, will Wilder really care? Not really. I don't think Joshua really cares about stuff like that. I think he'd be happy for Wilder. I don't think Joshua's a bitter type of guy. I don't think he wants Wilder to do badly. Wilder said a lot of things about Joshua, but Joshua never really comes out and criticizes, like, or talks bad. And when he fought Ortiz and he won, he said he gave Wilder a lot of praise and credit for that, whereas when Joshua fought Parker, Wilder came out and made a silly video saying that Parker got robbed. So there's a difference there. There's a difference in character, in my opinion. Joshua doesn't really come out and criticize Wilder like Wilder and Fury criticize Joshua. That's obvious. But why do so many boxers and professionals think AJ ducked? Why do so many boxers and professionals? Now, I don't know, Lennox Lewis thinks AJ's ducked. Now, there are a few people that think that Anthony Joshua is ducking the fight. And I agree with you. There are a few people, a few professionals that think Anthony Joshua is ducking the fight. They think that maybe Eddie Hearn and Joshua are trying to drag this out so they can make as much money as possible. But once again, I'll say that he's not afraid. Fear of losing doesn't mean that AJ is afraid. Exactly. So that's the thing. Fear of losing doesn't mean they're afraid. But obviously it's a business. So if Anthony Joshua loses, then he loses a lot of money. There's a business. Like I said, AJ's a brand. He loses a lot. He's still going to be a massive star, irrespective now, because he's reached that level. But obviously they don't want him to lose. And Wilder's obviously a massive threat. But Joshua's not afraid. Like here's the thing. Do you actually think Joshua's fearful of Wilder? So he looks at Wilder and thinks, oh my God, I'm scared of that guy. That guy's dangerous. That's not the case. He's not afraid. Now, many professionals and boxers probably think he's ducking because they probably know how good a promoter Eddie Hearn is, and they probably think Eddie Hearn's dragging this out. So then when Wilder and Joshua fight, they can make as much money as possible. Carl Froch thinks that in Britain. He thinks that. So maybe that could be the reason. But I do think it's got to a situation now where I think it's just a matter of ego, where I think Wilder and Joshua can't come to terms financially. And I do think that's going to be a problem going forward. Because here's the thing: if they had a problem making the fight now, what's to say that the fight's going to be made down the road? You know, and that's my fear of it. You know, says it. So J Olo Monday says, why does Wilder want more money for fight AJ, but when about saying AJ doesn't want the fight? So why does Wilder want more money to fight AJ, but when about saying so? I think obviously Wilder wants a split. That's like I've said this before. Wilder wants a split. He feels that he deserves a split as being a respected American champion. And he's saying AJ doesn't want the fight. Like I've already mentioned that. Obviously Wilder's gonna say that. Wilder's gonna say that AJ doesn't want the fight. You know, what else is he gonna? He's gonna say that. You know, but Wilder is I want to say this about Wilder. Wilder was a very good fighter. He's a very good fighter. I don't know the kind of people that he's got around him and what they're doing for Shelly Finkel, because it feels like all the Wilder fans think that Shelly Finkel and Wilder would never lie, and Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn always lie. Whatever they say is always wrong, and whatever Wilder and Finkel say is always right. It's not true. Shelly Finkel's lied before. Shelly Finkel's a very good businessman. Just like he's been doing it longer than Hearn. You know, so in boxing business, you have to be very, you have to know your stuff. You have to be crooked a certain way to get these big fights, and it's all a matter of politics in boxing. It's not that easy. But to answer your question, why does Wilder want more money? Of course he wants more money. Every fighter wants more money. You know, whether he deserves it or not, again, it's subjective. He's a WBC champion, but Joshua holds more belts. Joshua's the bigger star. He's the one that's doing, you know, a lot more on pay-per-view. So I don't know, Wilder's never done a pay-per-view before. So again, it's subjective. If you're a Joshua fan, that's what you're going to say. If you're a Wilder fan, that's what you're going to say. So I hope it answers your question. Okay. And the thing is, Yardi, I was expecting a question from you, but you didn't send me a question. You were having a dig at me. I thought you would send me a question. I want to obviously respond to Donald Bell. You said something. Now let me get your question up. I think your question was about, okay, is this why you said Donald Bell? This is Donald Bell. I'm just gonna go through some of the things that he says. One thing you need to recognize when you say something positive about, you follow it with several things negative about him. But when you talk about AJ and Eddie, it's all positive, as if they're perfect and everyone is lying except Eddie. Frank Warren hates Eddie. Lennox Lewis is jealous. Tyson Fury is jealous. Okay, I know you live in the UK, but you don't have to agree with everything they say. Right is wrong and wrong is wrong. Why do you lie so much? You know damn well that Wilder said he would take the 15 million to fight 8 September when Wilder said you'll have the contract by Friday. Eddie had the WBA to create a false deadline to AJ to fight Povetkin. AJ is a good fighter, but he's afraid of Wilder. You keep making excuses for AJ. AJ is a scary ass coward. You can deny it all you want, but AJ's actions will prove you wrong. Not only AJ is afraid of Wilder, he's afraid of Ortiz too. If he finally takes the fight, that still won't remove the fact that he's a scary ass coward. I have one question for you, not your brother. Why can't you see when a man is scared? So I'm not going to read more. Obviously, I've said what you said. Now, I can't make you change your opinion about you thinking that AJ is not scared of Wilder. I've said it before, he's not scared. At this level, no fighter's scared. I know professional fighters. And I spoke to him. Like I said, the guy that I trained with was a former British light welterweight champion who used to spar with Chris Pyatt. I don't know if you know, who was a world champion. So these guys are fighters. They're not scared of anyone. Like, how can you think Anthony Joshua is scared? But I can't make you change your opinion because you're a Wilder fan. So you're always going to say Joshua's scared. That's why he's not taking a fight. But that's your opinion. You can say that. You can say that. And about your comment at the top, why do you say Tyson Fury is jealous? Look, go back and listen to what Tyson Fury has to say about Joshua. Don't you think Tyson Fury's not jealous of Anthony Joshua? Like the way he talks about him, the way he always criticizes him. Forget the Wilder situation. Look, go back and look at the other things. Lennox Lewis. I never said Lennox Lewis is jealous. When did I say Lennox Lewis is jealous? The guy's a former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Why would he be jealous of Anthony Joshua? Holyfield is jealous. When did I say Holyfield was jealous? I didn't ever say that. See that you're mentioning all the people that kind of, but you don't talk about Bernard Hopkins, who said that Wilder's a little man and Anthony Joshua's a big man, and a good big man always beats a good little man. You don't mention, what about Jim Blampley, who said if there's a Muhammad Ali in this era, it's Anthony Joshua. But you don't mention those people. Those people are all wrong. Oh, what you'll say about those people, you'll say, oh, Jim Blampley's from HBO. He's going to say that, right? But Joshua's never fought on HBO. Joshua's been fighting at Showtime, so why would he say that? But this is the thing, you always mention the people that are taking Wilder's side, but whenever it's Anthony Joshua, you don't. So you haven't got an open mind. I say Wilder's a great fighter, and you've mentioned, yes, AJ's a great fighter, and I've said good things about Wilder, and I've also mentioned things in there that I think, like the rematch clause, that needs to be in there for Wilder. I've mentioned, but you feel like whatever AJ and Eddie Hearn do is wrong, and that's the problem. With me, I have an open mind. Now, fair enough, I might be a bit biased. I'm from the UK. Obviously, Anthony Joshua is one of our biggest stars here. Yeah, I still think I give Wilder a lot of credit. Even in negotiations, I think I give him a lot of credit. Now, talking about you saying I follow up with a lot of negative points. Well, Wilder does a lot of things that deserve criticism. He says a lot of weird things. Like, Joshua doesn't say anything controversial like that. Like, Wilder said a lot of things that can be considered, you know, a bit like, what is he saying? You know, so that's my take on it. But again, like, your opinion is fixed, so I can't really change that. I think Deontay Wilder's a great fighter. I can't give him more credit. I think he's a great fighter. I think if him and Joshua fight, it's a 50-50 fight. There's a great chance Wilder could win. I even said I think Wilder could be a slight favourite. But in terms of you saying AJ's scared, I'm sorry, I disagree. I don't know what more I can say. I disagree. A fighter's not scared at that level. He's not. I'm sorry, he's not scared at that level. Any fighter, you speak to any fighter, world champions, British fighters, they're not scared. They're not scared. Scared, like, do you really think Joshua sits at home and then when Wilder and him get, oh no, I'm not fighting him. He's dangerous. He's scary. I'm scared of him. Do you really think Joshua feels like that about Wilder? You honestly think Joshua feels like that about Wilder? Yet he was willing to get in the ring with Klitschko, who, no disrespect to Wilder, Wilder's no Klitschko. He's not one of the greatest fighters of all not one of the greatest fighters of all time, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. You can't disagree with Klitschko's resume. It's brilliant. So he was willing to get with him in his 16th fight. And if Joshua was scared, when he got knocked down from Klitschko, he wouldn't have got back up. He wouldn't have got back up, and he would have jacked it in there because that would have been a scared man. But I don't think Joshua's scared of anyone. That's just my personal opinion. But again, I won't be able to change your opinion, so I'm not going to go into it. But yeah, guys, I hope I've answered all of your questions. I've tried to do it as fairly as possible. I'm pretty sure a lot of you are going to criticize me and say, oh, you didn't answer that fairly, you didn't answer that. But I tried to do it to the best, you know, as fairly as possible. And yeah, guys, I'll be looking to do more of these with you guys. You know, it was really good. Some of you sent some really good questions. I really liked it. If I'd missed anyone, I don't think I have. I think I've answered everybody's question. But yeah, guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.